Kyle Busch accepting his trophy as the 2019 Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series Championship. We come back live right now. Myself, Chris Burns, Corey Hovnagel to my immediate right, Eddie Focus in the booth. Corey, wow. It was crazy. Harvick led. Hamlin was good. Truex was good. But when it was all said and done, it became the Kyle Busch show.
Well, indeed it was, and Kyle Busch not only wins the race, but gets his second championship in the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series. But I got to tell you what, I thought the race today was good, but, I will say, it was a clean race, not that many cautions and so forth, but I will have to say this. I'm actually glad that Homestead's being moved to March of 2020 and having the championship race at Phoenix, so I will say this, I give credit to the 18 team, and not to mention, with the loss of J.D. Gibbs in January. So I think it's kind of a good fitting moment. But, yeah, I will say this, the race wasn't too bad, but, I thought it could have been better.
Not the worst race we've ever saw, but, again, when you factor in the loss of J.D. Gibbs back in January, a very good moment for Joe Gibbs Motorsports right here, JGR,
Yeah.
But at the same time, there were moments in this race where, God, I'm going to be a homer. I'm really going to be a homer right now.
Yeah.
There were moments in this race where the JGR cars really benefited from certain things. And if I'm going to give Kyle Busch any credit, and you know me, I'm not a Kyle Busch fan. If I say the word Kyle Busch, what happens? FKB, exactly. I got to give Joe Gibbs Motorsports Racing that particular tip of the hat. They knew what to do when it came down to pit strategy, and when it did come down late in the race, it was pit strategy that won this race.
Right.
I cannot take away from Kyle Busch. I said this Thursday, I said this earlier, and I'll say this now. I can't take away from any one of the championship four, and unfortunately for me, it's Kyle Busch.
Indeed, pretty much it is, but, I will say, Truex, he had a fighting chance, and then Harvick, he was good in the beginning, and then Hamlin, he struggled pretty much late in the race, but, it pretty much coming down, Kyle Busch just made a mistake-free race, and just all it is.
So what we're going to do now is open the phone line.
We want to hear from you.
Let me explain this to you now. The phone line is open, 860-576-0313. If you call and you're on, great. If you hear somebody else calling, you are the next in line. Wait till that person is done, and then you call in. But if you want to know my opinion on Kyle Busch, let me make sure I hit the right button. Is it this one? Nope. No, it is not. It's this one. I am unapologetic. I am not. I am not going to sit here other than congratulations, Kyle Busch, and saying that now. I'm saying that because he was much like the other two, much like Matt Crafton, much like Tyler Reddick.
Yeah.
He was the underdog, but he wasn't the guy I wanted to win.
Right.
And at the end of the day, I don't know what JGR had underneath them, but, man, Kyle Busch ran the race of his life tonight.
Of course he did, yep. And I thought he ran a really good, clean race. And, of course, like I said, the 18 car, they ran a mistake-free race, and pretty much, they just didn't hold back.
Okay. And I agree with that.
Yep.
I got a text message that says, Kyle Busch won. Are you kidding me? I wasted my time watching him win the race after Martin Truex Jr. and Kevin Harvick led, and they all let him win.
Right.
Well, Emma, I'm sorry. I apologize. We may or may not have you on the show in just a little while, but right now we got a little gimmick going on.
Right.
As soon as I see Chelsea come back inside the room. Right now, look, here it is. Full disclosure. Congratulations, Kyle Busch, the 2019 Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series champion. Now here comes Chelsea. And, okay, good. What I want to do now is I want Eddie to move out of his seat for just a minute.
Yes, Eddie.
Because, well, it's what it is. Mark, I want you to come sit down. Mark, I want you to come sit down. Just sit down. I understand. All right.
Yeah.
Behind the door, where you can't see. What I want you to know is thank you for the last 2 seasons having us here. For the last, I don't know, since I've been aligned with you, 6 years, for having football, everything here. What I want to do is I want to present something to you that will mean something to you. It means something to us, and this is for you. And your daughter, Sarah, is bringing it in right now for you. I want to give to you this, a Walter Payton Chicago Bears jersey.
Walter Payton.
And I want you to have this, and I want you to wear this with pride because, brother, you do so much for us that you deserve this.
I love it. I love it.
You do so much for not only the CJ Speed Review, the Logan Gibraltar Show, you put out yourself every single Sunday, football season, racing season, whatever. You put out so much for us, and we want to just give a little something back to you. Oh, wow. And I know that Walter Payton is like the god of Chicago Bears.
Oh, he is.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So just lean forward, talk a little bit. I want you to speak just a little. Just tell us what that means to you.
Oh, this means a lot. Thank you so much
You're welcome.
for this. Wow. I'm like, wow, this is nice.
And I know your game tonight is at 8:20, so.
Yes, and I will be changing from this to this probably.
Okay, please put that on, and
Give me some luck here, you know.
I hope so,
Right.
because God bless America. That means a lot to us, and it means a lot to you.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I always appreciate you guys coming over here, and you guys are awesome friends.
Thank you.
I love having you guys over here, and hopefully this is a tradition we can do year from now on.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
And maybe we can even get the start of the season.
Daytona.
Daytona and do that here too. That would be kind of cool.
It'd
Yeah.
be fantastic.
To do that, you know. But yeah, I love you guys coming over here. It's always been fun having you guys here and doing NASCAR, and I really appreciate you guys being here. And this you didn't have to do.
No, we had to do it. We
Right.
had to do it.
So,
Do me a favor. Before we get into the next segment, go into the bathroom, go into the next room, whatever, change. I want to see you in that I want to see you in that shirt.
okay.
All right. And Sarah's been in on this since, noon today? Sarah?
Really, Sarah, huh?
Yeah, Sarah was in on it.
And he basically gave that to me and said, hide it in your room.
Yeah.
In my closet the whole time.
Yeah, we've been waiting for this for 4 or 5 hours. So, yeah, good job. Thank you. Thank you, Mark.
I'm going to go ahead and put this on.
Thank you, Mark.
Well deserved. I'm gonna
Very
put
much.
this on, and I am going to. This is
Mark's gonna go.
the Bears
Mark's
are
gonna go.
win tonight.
All right,
Yeah.
the Bears are going to win tonight against the Rams. While Mark is changing, let's go back to the race. There were 3 cars, seriously, Hamlin, Harvick, and Busch,
Yeah.
that ran the race of their lives. Truex was always in the mix. I didn't think that Truex had everything he had to give, but at the end of the day, it was Kyle Busch. I can't, again, as much as I dislike Kyle Busch, I can't take away from the fact that this kid is fantastic.
You can't agree on that, with all the records that he's broken. I'd probably say in all 3 divisions, and not to mention he's pretty much the winningest driver of the decade. I mean, there's just nothing to say, but, probably I'd say the winningest driver in Xfinity, the winningest driver in the decade. I mean, and now with 2 Cup championships, you just can't go wrong.
All right, I got a guy from Philadelphia that I'm going to, you know what, I'm just going to call him. I'm not going to wait. Hey, can we get Baldini in on the shot real quick in his gimmick, or somebody take a picture of him? I'm going to call a Kyle Busch fan right now. Let's just get him on the phone.
Okay.
All right, Ed's going to take a picture.
All right.
All right.
Man, I'm watching the Eagles game. What's up?
All right, listen, you're on live right now. You're a Kyle Busch fan. We're talking to Drew Maga out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
God.
And
Watching
right,
the Eagles, and you have me talking about NASCAR on top of it. All right, good. All right, let's do it.
Okay, stop. Your guy won the championship tonight in a very impressive performance. And what I want to know right now is, did you expect the dominant performance you saw, or did you expect it to be a little more competitive?
No, it should have been more competitive. I didn't expect him to win the way he did.
Okay. You've been a Kyle Busch fan, and let me put it out there. His name is Drew DeCarlos. He's from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. He's a very big fan, not only of the CJ Speed Review, but he's a big fan of the Loki and Jabroni Show. He has been with us since day one. But he's also been Kyle Busch unapologetic since day one. Yeah. And when I dig him, when I get on him, I'm like, dude, are you serious? This is a guy I wouldn't want this guy raising my kids. Drew finds a way to make it okay. But so now, go ahead, Drew.
Here's the thing, and this is the truth, and I've said this from day one. If he races smart, nobody can touch him. It's when he's reckless and drives like an idiot, he screws himself.
Thank you.
So, the fact that he raced his way tonight proves that he can dominate that track. I mean, it's his second championship in, 3 years?
4 years.
4 years, yeah.
4 years, sorry, 4 years, forgive me. But, he did awesome, so.
Yeah.
We'll see. Now, if he can defend it next year, we'll see. But a lot of times, he's inconsistent. He's there at the end, but he's always inconsistent. I was very surprised with this.
All right, fair enough. And while you're saying this, from 2015 when he won the championship and they grandfathered him in with the broken leg, and they said, Kyle, all you have to do is win one race and finish in the top 30. And he comes out and he wins 5 races, which basically cements his chances, and he wins the championship. That year was a lark.
Yeah.
In my opinion, it was a layup. This year,
I
Kyle
agree. It was
fought.
A cop-out.
Yeah, right. And this year, Kyle fought. When you go into the playoffs, Kyle Busch was not a factor. When you go into the first round of the playoffs, the round of 16, Kyle Busch is not a factor. Then you go into the round of 12, Kyle Busch is not a factor. Then you go into the round of 8, Kyle Busch is not a factor. Now, he sneaks his way in by points to the round of 4, and now, tonight, in Miami, he wins the race, wins the championship. It just, you know what, as much as
it blows your mind.
Exactly. Yeah. As much as I dislike Kyle Busch, it shows that when the chips are down and you want to bet on somebody, bet on Kyle Busch.
Yeah, you can bet on him, but like I said, the problem is his arrogance, too. When his arrogance gets the best of him, he screws himself. Yeah. I did not see this coming in this kind of fashion. I thought maybe he would hang in, but I didn't expect a dominant factor. And you're right, 2015 when he did win, I think the fact of the broken leg, just win one race, I didn't agree with that. Go out, earn it like everybody else does.
But then he won 5.
Accidents happen. Accidents happen, and you got to get off and dust yourself off. He shouldn't have been given special treatment. And I said that in 2015.
Yes, you did. I'll give you a lot of credit, my friend Drew Maga. You said this shouldn't have happened.
No, it shouldn't have. I mean, granted, it's better than Jimmy fucking Johnson. But,
yep.
Our producer is rolling his eyes right now.
Oh boy,
because that's a Jimmy Johnson fan.
Ooh.
Sorry. But no,
I'm not a fan. The guy just paid the bills for a while.
All right, fair enough.
Fair enough. But no, definitely a dominant thing. But like I said, he won it this year, very dominant. He battled his way. Can he do that next year and defend the title? He couldn't do that in 2016. Let's see if this humbles him, and let's see if he can defend it next season.
Well, 2016, strangely enough, was like the resurgence for Jimmy Johnson, where Jimmy Johnson came out and he just kept plowing and plowing and plowing, and he claimed his 7th championship. But then you go to 2017, it was Martin Truex Jr. You go to 2018, it was Joey Logano. When you talk about Jimmy Johnson, it's like you're watching the downfall after that 2016 championship. But when you're talking about Kyle Busch, still in his mid-30s, you're seeing a guy that could ostensibly next year, the year after, still be championship contender. You're watching a guy that could still be in the hunt. And again, as much as it pains me to say it, and you know, Drew, right now, my insides are turning outside.
I know.
But
I know, man.
But I love you, and you're my friend, and I have to say this, and there's a reason I reach out to you. There's a part of me that says, and I said it to Corey before we went hot, I said it to Eddie, I said it to everybody, even when we did Thursday night show. I don't have a problem with any of the four guys, Harvick, Hamlin, Truex, Busch, anybody who walks away with this trophy tonight. I don't have a problem with any of them because they all earned it. And to me, and I'm going to say it right now, and you can mark this on your calendar, I'm saying Kyle Busch earned it tonight. And to me, are you watching? If you're not watching this, Drew, go back to YouTube. I'm doing this. I'm tipping my hat right now. I'm saying Kyle Busch earned this.
Yeah.
I appreciate that, and I know for a fact you are not a Kyle Busch fan, so I appreciate that. Going into this, and I will go on record, I'm live on, the podcast, whatever, wherever people are watching. I honestly thought Harvick was going to win it.
You're not in the how do I put this? You're not in the oh Christ, what am I thinking of here? There were a lot of people that thought because it was Harvick versus Joe Gibbs Racing with three guys from Joe Gibbs Racing were coming out that Harvick was going to do it, and he did well. Let's be honest. You can't take it away from Harvick, but at the same time, Busch drove the race of his life tonight.
If he needed any night, and he needed that, tonight was the night to do it, and he did it.
Yep.
It was crazy.
All right. Well, Drew, thank you, and congratulations.
Anytime.
Congratulations to your driver. I'm tipping my hat to you. I'm going to reach out to one more Kyle Busch fan on the phone, and we're going to see what people think, and we'll go from here. And keep supporting us. We're out here for you, and let people know what they think, what you think, and what they think. And Drew,
people need to listen to this. Great show, great podcast.
Thank you.
Tune in and listen.
Well, that's up to you to share it every single freaking week, brother.
Absolutely, always do.
All right, hey kid, congratulations! I love you. Congratulations to your driver.
And I do want to say
Kyle
one
Busch.
thing. So I think I want to say this. It's better that Steve Phelps handed him the trophy instead of Brian France because Brian France.
Yes.
Yeah, he pretty much messed up. So I really like where Steve Phelps is going, and I hope he makes this sport a lot better, and hope he makes it more exciting in the future.
Absolutely. I agree with that 100%. Love you guys. Keep doing what you do. You guys kill it every week. Love you guys.
Well, keep sharing us, Drew. Thank you so much. We're going to let you go, and we'll talk to you soon.
Sounds great, guys.
All right.
All right, thank you.
All right, so now I'm going to reach out to one more Kyle Busch fan who I know is probably dancing.
Pretty much him and Jim France, I think they're going to make this sport a lot popular.
Oh, absolutely. And somebody needs to somebody needs to get
And
Zach.
I will say this, they better make the 2021 schedule a lot more exciting than what it is next year. I mean, I like how there's shifting up the schedule for next year, and I am glad that Homestead's going to be in the spring and next year and having Phoenix at the championship race. But the one thing I really want NASCAR to do is I want them to have the championship race rotate every single year. Kind of like, how they do for, like, the Super Bowl and all this stuff.
Great. I got one more.
All right.
I'm going to see if I can get her on the phone.
Okay.
Hello?
Hello, Crystal. Welcome to the C&J Speedway Review.
Congratulations.
Your man has just won the championship. What are you thinking right now?
It's awesome!
That's what I wanted to hear. I can only imagine in your living room right now that you are dancing and having a great time. For me, watching the race and knowing that, you know, these four drivers, Hamlin, Truex, Harvick, and Busch, battling it out, you know, and you're watching and you're saying, oh, my God, is this it? Is this it? And your guy comes out in first. Tell me, just walk me through today for you.
Oh, it was just, I don't know. It was just really heart racing. And I'm like, oh, my gosh, we have to win this. We got this. We worked so hard. And we did. And we came through. And it was amazing. I was like, yay.
It seems like it. And look, we were watching, and look, me, unapologetic as a Harvick fan, I'm like, can we get a caution? Can we get a caution? Can we get a caution? And Corey, my co-host, and Eddie, my producer, and everybody here will tell you that I'm like, oh, my God, can we get a caution? Can we get a caution? But Kyle Busch, you know, from pitch strategy to track position to everything else, put himself out there and made the best of every situation and walks away with the 2019 championship. For me, as much, and you know me since Kyle Busch walked onto the circuit, I am unabashedly a Kyle Busch hater. But I can't deny his talent. So when I see him win tonight, there were two people that came to my mind. One was my friend in Philadelphia, and one was you, and that's why you're on the phone right now, live with us on the YouTube gimmick. You know, I have to tip my hat to you right now. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Yes, and a quick question: do you think?
Yeah.
You know, he won in 2015. Now he's a champion in 2019. Do you think Kyle has the sauce to come back and be a repeat champion in 2020?
I have faith. I'd like to hope that. Oh, my goodness. Sorry, that was my kid. I'd like to hope that. I have very much faith in him and the team.
Okay.
So anything's possible.
Your kid, that's the Joey Logano fan, or?
No, that was Hazel. She has no idea what's going on.
Little Hazel. Oh, she's such a cutie, by the way.
Yes, she is. She's a handful sometimes. Oh, the Logano fan is doing dishes.
Kittery's doing dishes?
I know.
I'm so impressed. Well,
that's so
for
awesome.
Kittery,
Yeah.
for Kittery, and for those that, you know, did not make the championship, much like our host here was a Brad Keselowski fan, did not make the championship for. Much like Kittery, who's a Logano fan, did not make the championship for. I wish the best next season. But I have to tip my hat right now to you. I have to say, Crystal, your guy. As much as, oh my God, I'm looking up at the screen right now, and there's Martin Truex Jr. in the pits. He's like, oh, well, you know what? I didn't win right now, and, you know, I have to give credit to Kyle Busch. As much as he wants to say, what do we say when we say Kyle Busch?
Boy.
Say it out loud. FKB. That's right. We say FKB, but for you, we don't say FKB. We say congratulations, Kyle Busch.
Yes.
And Crystal, I wanted to reach out to you. I know you've been, as long as I've known you, a Kyle Busch fan, and this has to be for you, like pinnacle, top of the mountain since 2015. And we had that conversation not long after that race. I was like, this will never happen again. Well, this is me saying, I'm sorry, I was wrong.
Yeah.
It's okay. I forgive you. You know.
I'm sure you do. Because
At least you're recognizing his talents, and
Well,
then you know,
well-
in your hat.
Well, you also know I accept when I'm wrong, and you understand I love you and you love me, and everything's good. So,
Oh yeah.
you know, let's enjoy this. Have some fun. By the way, what's your favorite football team?
Giants.
Well, you guys suck, so that's what I'm going to say.
Oh, boy.
You
Well,
don't
thank you so much.
you don't suck as much as the Falcons, but you still suck.
Oh, look, you're perfect.
All right. Say hello to Tom. Say hello to the kids. I love you guys. I want to let you know that tonight's for you, kid.
Yeah.
I love you. You've been a fantastic friend of mine for nearly 20 years, and
Oh yeah.
I wanted to share in this moment with you.
Thank you. I do appreciate it.
All
And
right.
everybody here hears you on speaker, so they all know what's going on.
All right. Well, for what it's worth, oh, God, I hate to say it. I'm looking at him on the screen right now. Oh, Christ. Congratulations, 2019 Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series champion, Kyle Busch. And I just, you know what? It pains my heart to say it, but Crystal, I love you, and we'll talk to you soon.
Yes, sir. Thank you. And I love you guys. Thank you for calling.
No problem, baby. We'll talk
Thank
to you
you.
soon.
All righty. Have a good night.
You too.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, bye. We're going to try to reach Jason Blue. I would love to hear what he has to say about all of this. But, Corey, tonight's race, I mean, you watched. All four guys were right there in the top 10.
Right.
They were battling side by side, face to face, Gimmick Jones. What do you have to say about tonight's race?
Well, I thought it was a good race. You know, it wasn't that too exciting. We didn't have that much cautions and whatever and so forth. But all in all, you know, I thought it was a smooth race. You know, Kyle Busch, you know, hit his marks. I mean, it sucked that, you know, Denny Hamlin, he was in contention, and then he had the overheating problems. And then Harvick, he was there at the end, and then he faded back. And then Truex, he tried to catch back, and then he finished second. So, I mean, all in all, I thought it was a good championship race. You know, I mean, probably wasn't the best race that I've ever seen, but then yet again, you know, we'll just have to see what happens next year when the championship race gets moved to Phoenix. So it'll be
Right.
It's going to be an interesting season next year, and I'm really looking forward to it.
For those of you that did not catch the end of the game, Patriots 17, Eagles 10. So the Patriots win this week against the Philadelphia Eagles. There you go.
I didn't even know we won.
We're dialing up one more guy. We'll see if we can get him. Maybe we'll dial up two more guys. But let's get this out of the way.
Do your job.
Hello.
Hey, Jason Blue, how are you, brother?
What up?
What's up, guys?
Okay, you watched.
I didn't even have to call in. You guys just called me.
No, because I had to call you. You were the guy a week ago that said Kyle Busch. The rest of us said, well, Truex, Hamlin, Harvick, et cetera, so forth. You called Kyle Busch. Now, I want to know, and for those of you that don't know, Jason Blue is the Jason, what are you at Stafford Motor Speedway?
Thompson Motor Speedway.
Thompson,
I'm the
sorry.
press box. I'm the press box coordinator there.
Okay.
Okay.
So he is racing Jones. He is there every single week. He is hometown racing. So
Well, I appreciate that.
no, you earned that title. So when I ask you this, when you said a week ago, when all of this went down, you said, I think Kyle Busch is going to be the champion. Tell me why you thought Kyle Busch would be the champion, and then going forward, tell me how you feel about Kyle Busch winning the 2019 Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series Championship.
To me, Kyle Busch, and we've seen it many times, Kyle Busch is the kind of driver where if you take it away from him, if you tell him he can't do it, he's going to do it. It's just kind of the way he is.
And
And
it's funny, I say the same thing
felt-
about Kevin Harvick, but unfortunately today I say unfortunately, but I don't want to take away from the championship, but like Jason said, you tell Kyle Busch he can't do something, he's going to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they actually talked about it on the show or on the broadcast today. They brought it up, and I was surprised that I wasn't the only one who noticed this. When he won his title before, when he came back from his broken leg, he had a rough second half of the season then, too, and came back and he won Martinsville. Not Martinsville. He won Homestead. I don't think he won any of the chase races. I might be wrong. I don't think he won any of the chase races that year, too.
No, I think he won three in a row. I think he won 3 in a row in the regular season, and he won one of the races to make the Final Four, and then he won Homestead.
Yeah, and he was, in my opinion, he was the underdog coming in outside of Kevin Harvick. Everybody said Harvick was the underdog, but
you and I had talked during the actual race broadcast when I said Harvick actually had an advantage because Joe Gibbs Racing had to kind of lay out all of their resources, whereas Stuart Haas could put everything into that car.
Are you talking about 20? Are you talking about 2015 where we were texting back and forth?
No, I'm talking about this year.
Oh yeah.
Where going into the race, they actually thought Kyle Busch might have been the underdog because I didn't think he was gonna.
And yeah, when you texted me, and I don't want to put you on the spot, but when you texted me, I said Harvick is in that position where it's Harvick against the world.
Yeah.
And
what?
Exactly. And when it comes down to it, I thought for my mind's eye, I thought it would be the three Gibbs guys running a train back to back to back, three cars just going out there and dominating a race, and Harvick had to find his way to the front. What we saw tonight was every man for himself. You know, whether it was Kyle Busch or Denny Hamlin or whomever, whenever somebody took the lead, it was just like, thank you, F you, bye, I'm gone. And it was up to Harvick as the outsider. Again, it's hard to talk about Kevin Harvick as an outsider, but in this race, in this championship, we have to talk about Kevin Harvick as an outsider. He was the guy who was like, okay, now I have to find a way to get up there. I'm not taking anything.
No.
I'm not taking anything away from Kyle Busch. 1,000%. I said it Thursday night when we did the broadcast. I say it tonight. Any one of these four that participated in this championship four was worthy of the championship. And now,
definitely.
you know, as Kyle Busch is raising the championship trophy above his head, he deserves it. Do I like it? No. Do I accept it? Of course I do. Why? Because I'm an objective sports fan. Much like if the Red Sox win the World Series, I'm like, all right, yep, they won. Or if the Patriots win the Super Bowl, I'm like, okay, they won. I get it. I understand it. I accept it. What I'm at, you know, you and I for this season, and Corey may not know this, every single race there's a text between you and I about what happened, how it happened, why it happened, who should have won, what may have happened. You and I have been, since you've been on the show, it's crazy. You and I have not had this much race contact ever until the 2019 season. But this season, every time there's a race, you're like, okay, this, and this. And I will retort to you, well, this, and this. And we come to an agreement. In your mind's eye, did Kyle Busch earn this championship, or did he luck into this championship?
I think that it depends on how you look at earning it. In this, I was talking with my dad, who is also a huge big race fan, about it. In this point system, he earned it.
Yes.
If you want, you know, you can put all the asterisks that you want into it, but I think he did earn it. I think that unlike the other three contenders who basically at times had certain things, whether it be a win or this or that to their advantage, Kyle had to race his way through the entire chase or the entire playoff system without winning any races. And he did it with what I believe was the worst equipment of the three Gibbs cars. I do believe
you really think that. You really think that the crown jewel of the Joe Gibbs Racing team had the worst of the equipment?
Yes,
are you okay, wait. Before you answer, you're telling us right now that Kyle Busch had the worst of the JGR equipment. Two questions. Why do you think that? And two, how does that translate into the championship?
So, I actually think that it was designed that way by Joe Gibbs because, and this isn't to take anything away by any means from Denny Hamlin or Martin Truex Jr., I think that Gibbs, and if I was a team owner and I had those three on my team, I think this way too. I would give the best equipment I can to the drivers that need it because they depend more on a working car.
So you give it to Denny Hamlin.
Kyle Busch, for me, was given the worst equipment of the three because Gibbs knew he could handle that equipment. Because he's like Jimmy Johnson used to be, where you could give him a crappy car and he could make that car good.
Okay, so let me stop you here.
To me, that makes him a great driver and a deserving
Let me stop you here. I've said this more than one occasion. I've said this about Rusty Wallace. I've said this about Dale Earnhardt. I've said this about Alan Kulwicki. You can give a guy crap equipment. It's a matter of the guy behind the wheel that gets you to the dance.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, fair enough. Go ahead.
That's how I look at Kyle Busch, and I don't think it was anything out of spite with Joe Gibbs. You knew he wasn't going to have 3 great cars to bring to Homestead. But I think in the end, Kyle Busch won this championship based on his driving style and his ability to take whatever he has and make it something.
I'm gonna defer to my friend Corey over here of the other half of the CJ Speedway Review, who you know, and I'm sure listening to Jason, you have a couple questions you want to ask him in regard to Kyle Busch, Joe Gibbs Racing. So Corey, I'm giving the floor to you.
All right. So pretty much my one question. So out of all the 3 Gibbs guys, let's take out Kyle Busch for the equation. So let's say, if Kyle Busch didn't win the championship, who would you think, could have been, champion for Gibbs?
I think that it would have been Truex. I think it takes
I would have been too.
Kyle Busch completely out of the mix. I think that Truex is the second best driver at that team. If you look at all 4 of them, I think that this is true. I think Truex would have won the title today had it not been for that very weird mix-up on pit road.
Yeah, that was crazy.
If it wasn't for that, I think Truex would have been the champion. But as Denny Hamlin also said, and this is, I don't mean to get onto a rant here about this, but this is one thing that I thought was cool that a lot of people will ignore about Kyle Busch's win. As soon as he got out of the car, he credited all of his team members. He was very classy, very cool and collected. Eventually, he kept it off by thanking Rowdy Nation, but that also has a lot to do with it, is that his team made the least amount of mistake.
Okay.
And I think that also helps. So a lot of people forget, this is a team sport.
Yeah, of course. Exactly.
So I think that plays a lot into it, too. I think that Martin Truex had the best car of the Gibbs racing, but I think that Kyle Busch was the best driver today.
I agree. I couldn't agree a lot more. And again, you can't count out the fact that that this kid's breaking a lot of records throughout the years. I mean, you'd say that he's the winningest driver in the decade. He's the winningest
driver. Corey. We're gonna have a problem.
Right, he's the winningest driver in the Xfinity
Corey,
Series.
We're gonna have a problem.
The winningest
Don't
driver
do this.
in the Gandra Outdoor Truck Series. I mean, I would just put this aside. The day that he retires, there's no doubt that he's going to be a first ballot. And everyone's all going to say the reason why, he was probably one of the best drivers in the decade was because he was a record breaker.
Hall of Fame Jones.
Yeah,
I'm
pretty
with
much.
you.
He's in the Hall of Fame, no doubt about the day after he retires and stuff. And I couldn't even and I couldn't count this out too. He has a really good truck series team. Of course, neither of his truck drivers, made the playoffs this year, but it's going to be interesting, next year how Rafael Lessard and then the other guy, Christian Eckes, is going to be with their team next year. So when I first heard that those 2 guys were going to run full-time for his truck team, I kind of thought, okay, I kind of think Eckes has the edge, but then Lessard, I kind of question on why they picked him to run full-time, but I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how that all plays out. And then my other big question is, now that Riley Herbst is going to be running full-time in the 18 car next year, what is that going to do with Kyle Busch? Do you think we're going to see him run Xfinity races next year? Do you think this is going to be the year of, okay, Kyle's probably not going to run Xfinity races anymore, but I don't know. We'll just have to see.
He'll run and he'll win. He's got, I think, 4 more to go to 100, which is when he's going to retire. I think he'll do it. I think that the rumor that I heard is that he's going to run the 54 once again out of his own shop, which could happen.
Which I heard and I thought to myself, I'm sorry for the interruption, Will, which I kind of thought to myself, okay, I wonder if it's not too late if Kyle Busch can bring out that 54 car in the Xfinity Series again, because let's face it, in 2012, he could have won a couple races for his own car, but didn't really pull it off, but then yet again, I would want to see him get to 100 wins, but it's going to be interesting next year if he's either going to run a couple of Xfinity races or not.
You can't keep Kyle Busch down. I mean, he's going to race as long as they'll let him. But you also have to remember, there's only 3 cars that Gibbs Xfinity program right now.
Right, and of
There's
course, you know,
room
you
for them
got
to put that one more part-time car
Right.
in there just to earn a little bit of extra cash.
right, and I
So that
think
could happen too.
yeah, and I think in the Xfinity series for Gibbs, I think it's only 2 full-time guys that are running, or I think it might be 3. I think it's 3 that are running full-time.
Me
So
and Harrison Burton. I think Brandon Jones is back in the 19.
Brandon
and then you
Jones
have
is back
the
in the
18.
19. Yep,
Yeah.
and then Riley
And then you
Herbst
have
in the
18
18.
that just got filled.
Yep.
So all 3 of their full-timers should be back right now.
Right.
So
Exactly, yeah.
I think you'll continue to see him. I know that Chris and I have very differing opinions on Kyle Busch, his quality as a person. But we're talking
Oh,
about him
look, Steve,
Hold on.
stop.
Time out.
I really want to qualify this.
Okay.
I have no issue with Kyle Busch as a how am I going to put this? As a driver, he
Yeah.
is extremely talented. I've said it on the show. I've said it off the show. I've said it on the Loki and Jabroni show. I've said it in public. I've said it in front of Jason himself. I've said Kyle Busch is 1,000% a hell of a race car driver.
Yeah.
What I do not like is Kyle Busch's attitude. What I do not like is Kyle Busch's belief that if Kyle Busch can't win, nobody else can. What I do not like is Kyle Busch basically doing one thing, and when it happens to him, I go back to the Jeff Gordon thing, which is why, and Jason and I had this conversation, when Jason was on the Jeff Gordon tribute show, on the Loki and Jabroni show in 2015, I said I had a problem with Jeff Gordon for a lot of years until Jeff Gordon realized, hey, I'm a human being and other guys are out there to win. That's my problem with Kyle Busch.
Yeah.
So when Jason says please give me a minute.
Oh, yeah. No, go right ahead.
When Jason says Chris has a problem with Kyle Busch, Chris's problems with Kyle Busch stem further than what Chris's problems were with Jeff Gordon. Chris's problems with Kyle Busch stem further than they did with Jimmy Johnson, or Chris's problems stem further than with, say, in his early days, Kurt Busch, who I did not like until probably the last 9-10 years, when he settled down and he realized this is a job. It's not the be-all, end-all. So please, Jason, of all the conversation we've had, and hopefully this Wednesday, next Wednesday, whenever, during the off season, I'd love to have you on the show. We already talked about having you on the show to talk about racing, 2019 season, further the 2020 season. I want you to elaborate as if, please don't pigeonhole me into a spot where I'm staring at someone and saying the attitude is everything.
Mm-hmm. Well, here's where I was going with that.
Go ahead.
That might have been a little broad of me.
Please,
the terminology might have been a little broad.
I'm sorry I
was-
stopped you, but I had
that's
to
fine.
because what it comes down to is I have to separate, and Corey will know this, and Eddie will know this, and anybody who knows me in sports will know this. I separate the attitude from the man.
Yes.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Where I was going with this was I was saying that I know you and I have differing opinions when it comes to that. A lot of people have differing opinions when it comes to that because I look at him as a competitor. And I've met Kyle Busch in real life. It's not a fake story. Really, it's true. I've met him in real life. I met him when he was working with a Make-A-Wish kid when I visited the Hall of Fame one time. And
Sure.
he's a great person off the track. What you saw today was very interesting at the end of that race. If you notice, one of the biggest controversies for Kyle Busch this year was that he was throwing lap traffic guys under the bus.
Yeah.
Every time
Yes.
somebody moved out of the way for him at the end of this race, he waved his hand out to acknowledge, thank you. This is the kind of respect that I would
However-
like, and it's the kind of respect I would give you.
However,
At the end
I
of
have
the-
to
hold on.
point out there was a point somewhere before the playoffs started where he got hot at lap traffic for not letting him by, and I had to point back to, say, Jeff Gordon. I apologize, back in, say, 1998, 1999, saying, do they not know who I am? And his spotter said, yeah, they know who you are, but they're also trying to get that same real estate, dude. You need to fucking race them hard.
Yeah.
Pardon me for the cuss words. We don't do that on this show. But at the same time, Kyle Busch, what he's done this season, and I have to say it, I really do. And Corey, hold me to task to this.
Yeah.
Kyle Busch has held his ego in check almost this entire season.
I agree.
And for me, to watch him be crowned the champion, for me, is okay because he has held his ego in check this entire season.
Yeah.
And that's where I was kind of going, especially when you saw him get out of the car. I have never seen Kyle Busch more humble and more, I guess, in awe about what they did today. He got out of that car and he was, he even kind of hesitated a little bit taking the bow. He didn't go and burn out. He wanted to celebrate with the fans. He was very humble when he was thanking his team and everything. You could kind of tell this was a different Kyle Busch than I think a lot of people are used to seeing.
Yeah.
Where he kind of seemed to have that revelation finally where it's like, this is what it's all about. This is what we worked so hard for. I've got 2 championships now. I've done what I need to do. I hope his drive to win doesn't stop, but I hope that this more humble Kyle Busch blends with the competitor in him, and that's what we see for the rest of his career.
Yeah.
A guy who's willing to push it to the edge, a guy who's willing to do what he needs to do to win, but a guy who also at the same time lets his talent and his team speak for themselves instead of having to get out of the car and make excuses for himself or for anybody else.
You mean like the 22 team?
Yeah, that one. Oh, Joey.
All right, fair enough. Hey, Jason, thank you, and we'll be in touch.
Thank
We
you.
want you on our show during the off season every other week. We're to call out to you. We want to talk to you and have some fun.
Yeah.
Awesome. We'll talk out the air, and we'll try to make it happen.
You
Thank
bet.
you guys
All
for
right.
having me on.
Thank
Jason
you.
Blue from the Speedway. Let's have some fun. Thank you, kid.
Have a good one, guys.
All right,
later.
thank you.
We're to reach out to one more person, and I really think that this is going to be some fun. So, to you, Corey, how do you feel? I mean, we just got through with the race. We're standing in a world where Kyle Busch is raising the trophy. He is the 2019 Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series champion. How, to you, as a person, how does this feel to you?
Well, I probably say, I just have no feeling, but then other the fact that, I will say that, the kid's a racer, and, there's just no doubt that, he pretty much proved everybody wrong, with everyone said that, you can't do it. He just did what he had to do, and, I will say this, I think this kid's going to break a lot of records, in the near coming future, and,
the difference is when you talk about, say, Yankees, Red Sox, when you talk about, say, Bills, Patriots, when you talk about, say, Lakers, Celtics, you're talking about one-on-one competition. This is, in NASCAR racing since 2014, 4 teams battling against each other. So this year, you had, 3 out of 1 squad, and obviously Kevin Harvick out of the other squad. This isn't the World Series. This isn't the Super Bowl. This isn't the NBA Finals.
Right.
This isn't the College Football National Championships. You have 4 teams battling against each other to see who is going to win. And I will say this. I was worried this year as we walked into this race that the winner of the race would not be the champion.
Right.
Which since 2014, whoever won the race has been the champion, which makes this playoff valid.
right.
So, what we're looking at here is a different kind of dynamic where 4 teams go in and they're battling for that same piece of real estate. They're going for the championship. Hamlin, Truex, Busch, Harvick. They're all going for that same trophy. Unlike, say, in college football, you have, say, I'm just going to throw two teams out here because there are two teams, Ohio State and Alabama. When they go together, one team comes out. If you go to the World Series, you go to Houston and Washington. One team comes out. You go to the Super Bowl, New England and the Rams. One team comes out. This is one of those sports where four teams have an ostensible chance to win a championship. One team comes out the winner.
Right.
This is, to me, better than the World Series, better than the Super Bowl, better than the NBA Finals, better than the Stanley Cup Finals. This is four teams battling for a championship.
I will agree. Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna make one more phone call. Hopefully, we can get him on the line. And he's a Connecticut racing champion, so let's see what we can do. Chelsea's running the board right now, so Tzatziki Sauce is. Go ahead, Tzatziki Sauce. Let me give you your. Go ahead.
Hi, everybody.
All right. See if we can get Joey on the line. See if he answers his phone. If not, I got one more option.
Call has been forwarded to an
Oh, you
automatic
rat
voice
bastard, Jones. All right. I got one more. And I know this guy is going to be, pretty much, I'm sure right now he's angry as hell.
Oh, jeez.
We're going to do it. I don't care. Doesn't matter. Let's see if we can do this. This is a guy that I used to babysit when I was a kid. And we're connecting right now. Oh, wait, Joey Ternulo is calling in. Hey, Joey. Hello?
I think you got put on speaker.
Hold on, let me try this again. Hey, Joey.
You got me?
Yeah, I got you now, man. How you doing?
Good. What's going on?
Hey, look, we're doing the After Race Jones, man. What are you thinking right now? Kyle Busch wins the whole thing.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Oh, my man.
Don't like it.
Talk to me. Talk to me.
I wanted Harvick because he was the oddball. I'm a Stuart Haas racing fan. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep.
But I will give you this. I was in a NASCAR pool. I got in the pool in February, and I am the winner of the pool, and I just pocketed $550.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
How much of that are you going to donate to the Chris's Beer Foundation?
Oh, jeez.
I don't know. I think I'm going to pocket it, and I'm going to save it. I think maybe I'm going to take the losers in the pool today and be a good guy, you know?
All good, all good. Hey, listen, did you watch the race today?
I did. I watched the whole thing.
Okay, so for those of you that don't know, Joey Ternulo, hashtag Walnuts, is a Connecticut racing champion. He's been on our show before.
Yeah.
He is, if you want to talk about racing in Connecticut, this is the guy. Seriously,
Right.
He knows what it's like to get out there. And when you watch a race today, I know you said you wanted Harvick to win, and so did I. But when it's all said and done, you cannot deny Kyle Busch getting out there and doing what it needs to get done to become the 2019 champion.
Right.
Absolutely. And, I think he hasn't won a race since June 2nd, I believe, was on
Yeah, he hasn't won since
today.
June.
Yeah.
And you know what? That's the big thing because, your back is to the wall coming in. You're the underdog saying, this guy hasn't won a race since June. There's no way he can win a championship. And then he goes out there and stuffs it up everyone's you-know-what. I mean, that is cool. That is cool. I mean, good for him. He's come a long way. He broke both of his legs in 2015 and won the championship. And, to come back 4 years later and do it again, Kyle Busch, you are the man.
And I have to mention this because we talked about this Thursday night on the actual podcast leading into this weekend. The one thing I give Kyle Busch credit for in 2015 is that, he goes into Daytona, he breaks his legs, and they're like, okay, Kyle, what you need to do is win one race and finish in the top 30.
Yep.
He doesn't just win a race and finish in the top 30. He wins 5 races.
Right.
Yeah.
3 in a row.
Three in a row, yeah.
Exactly. And then
Indy, Bristol, and Michigan, I believe.
Bristol, Michigan, and one other. Yeah, I can't remember. But when it came down to the last race of the year at Homestead Miami Speedway, like we just watched tonight, he wins that race and he wins the championship. That is the only time I am not going to say F Kyle Busch.
Right.
Because in 2015, he really came out of the box and said, I deserve this. And coming out of 2014, when Harvick won the championship, Kyle Busch was the next closest guy. You know what? F. Ryan Newman, who came in second, Kyle Busch was the next closest competitor, who I thought, that's the guy. So the next year, Kyle Busch wins it. Now you go to 2016, where Jimmy Johnson wins. 2017, Truex wins. 2018, Logano wins. You know, Kyle Busch is always in the mix. And when we came down to it this past week, you know, Corey and I talked about it, and I'm gonna pitch it off to Corey in just a second before you comment. I said you cannot in any way, shape, or form, if you're a racing fan, you cannot count out Kyle Busch.
Right.
I'm going to throw it to Corey real quick, and then Joey, we're going to go to your comments. Joey Ternulo, Joey Walnuts, Connecticut Racing Champion. Corey, go ahead.
All right. So one little thing is I just wanted to say this. So, like when I saw Kyle Busch hoist up the trophy tonight, I thought to myself, at least it's better, you know, having Steve Phelps handing them the trophy instead of Brian France because, Brian, you know, pretty much kind of messed up, But I kind of looked at Steve Phelps and, you know, Jim France that are trying to make this sport exciting. I kind of thought, you know, something tells me, you know, not only we're going to have an exciting season in 2020, but I'm really interested to see what 21's going to bring. And hopefully, you know, we can probably get some more races or less races on the schedule in 2 years. But I got to say this, like, you know, watching all three races at Homestead this past weekend, I kind of thought, you know, the racing was okay, but it really wasn't like that good, you know, from what I expected. And now that the fact that, you know, we have the championship race next year at Phoenix for all three series, I think it's going to be very interesting. And, you know, which we saw the racing last week at Phoenix, all fans out like 3, 4 wide, 5 wide in the middle of the dog leg, you know, going down the turn one. So I will probably say this, you know, even if it comes down to a restart and you're fanning out like 3 wide and then somebody like messes up and then, you know, somebody gets into somebody, you know, it's going to play out the championship race a lot different than what we saw. But I will say this, though. I'm glad that, you know, Homestead's going to be in the spring next year and Phoenix being the championship race in November. So I think it's going to be interesting. I can't wait.
Right. And I believe they're giving Homestead in March, correct?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
All
yeah,
right.
I mean, I agree with you. I agree with you, Corey. You know, I mean, I think it's like, it kind of almost is like Kyle Busch is like the Tom Brady of the NASCAR league.
Oh,
you know,
my God. Excuse me while I go. Excuse me while I go retch, because I cannot hear this right now.
You do not bet against Kyle Busch when his,
I agree.
when
Are
the
you being Joey? I love you. You're my friend. You're the Walnuts. But are you actually comparing? Are you actually comparing Kyle Busch to Tom Brady right now?
Not in the sense of greatness, but in the sense of not turning his back against the wall and not betting against him, because he gets it done when it counts at most.
All right.
Because I'm an Aaron Rodgers guy. I'm a guy for Green Bay
Well,
fan,
that's
so
your first
I take my Aaron
problem.
Rodgers. You know, I take my Aaron Rodgers any day over Tom Brady.
All right.
Yeah.
We got
But,
we got a lot of gimmicks going on from the peanut gallery over here. We got some Tom Brady. We got some Dak Prescott. We got all this. But are you actually comparing Aaron Rodgers? Seriously, come on, talk to me. Talk to me.
Oh, I just think Kyle Busch is one guy in sports. You know, you do not bet against the NASCAR.
All right, fair enough.
But
Hey.
you know, I think it was a good NASCAR season. You know, I think a lot of guys got some wins. You know, you saw Alex Bowman get his first win at I think it was Chicagoland.
Yep.
Yeah, Chicago.
Chicago, that was good. A lot of good guys. I like seeing Kyle Busch knock off a bunch of wins, and he kind of went silent. And you saw some other guys come back to life, like Harvick and stuff like that. And Denny Hamlin, a solid season, winning the Daytona 500. Winning Texas, winning some races late in the season.
Right.
Everyone thought he was the favorite, but for Kyle to come out of that sleeping mode, get that win, it's big. I'm really excited for the 500 in February. See how 2020 kicks off.
All right, keep a Wednesday night open during December and January. We're gonna have you on the show. We're gonna have some fun.
100%. Chris,
All right.
You got it. Anytime.
Hey, where's my T-shirt, bro? You've been dogging me for years.
Listen, we got 2020 T-shirts in the process. They will be here in the spring.
Yes.
And Chris and Corey on the podcast, on the show, are going to be the first ones to get them. You can hold them up. You can hold them up when you go live in the spring and show them your new paraphernalia, right?
Nice. You bet your ass we'll do that for you. Joey Chirullo.
You better be at the Spring Sizzler April 26th.
April 26th?
April 26th, the Spring Sizzler, Stafford Motor Speedway. Get the greatest race in the history of the spring.
Joey, you give me a month's lead in, I'll be there.
You got it, Chris.
Yeah.
All right,
you
brother.
Are the man.
This is That's Joey Chirullo, Connecticut racing champion, and we're gonna go.
Yeah.
Thank you, Joey, so much.
Go Packers! We want to see Packers host the
my God.
in February.
Hey, by the way, Falcons won today. Just deal with that. Just deal with it.
They're 3-7 though. But
Yeah,
I'll
I
take
know.
my 8-2 over 3-7.
I'll take what I can get right now, brother.
That's right. That's right.
All right, thank you, bro. Thank you so much.
All right, guys, have a good night. You're the
You
man.
too.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Later. All right, I'm gonna reach out to my friend in Wisconsin. We're gonna have some fun, as if we haven't already. I just don't know, man. We've had a lot of different opinions. We've had, Kyle Busch is deserving. We've had fuck Kyle Busch. We've had, pardon me. Go ahead, Chelsea.
Can I say that I'm boycotting M&M's for a while?
You should. You should. And I get it. But right now, that's my brother. I can't call him. Because he'll just go against anything I say.
Right. You don't want that to happen.
No.
Isn't that a good thing, though, that he's going against what you
You want me to call my brother?
Can if you
Let's
want.
call my brother.
Oh,
Fuck
boy.
him.
That's going to be fun.
Let's have some fun. Let's see if he answers the phone, actually. All right. Chelsea.
Sure, it's only 7:30.
Chelsea has made it so. So we're going to call my brother. Let's see what happens.
And let's see.
Yeah, right,
looks
Corey?
Looks like the Raiders won.
Did they?
Yeah.
Good.
So right now Oakland is 6-4, and they are still in the hunt, I think.
Yes.
Okay. And meanwhile, New England is still playing, and it's 17-10 New England.
Just so you know, this is Chelsea's idea, not
Yes.
my idea. Not my idea.
Well, Eddie's not paying attention, so.
But the
I'm
person you
sorry.
called has a voice.
GimmickSchnabitzFernum.com. Okay,
Dang it.
so.
He's lying.
All right.
He's lying.
Who else do I know that is a.
Your friend from Wisconsin.
That was who I was going to call,
Yeah,
but
call
somebody
him.
said, call your brother.
Well, I said that first. I didn't say don't
Damn.
call your Wisconsin friend completely.
Give me a minute.
You call
Yeah.
Arnold. Arnold, you had one job.
All right.
You had one job only. Come on.
You want to go that route? All right.
You had one job only. Come on. What is this shit?
Oh, wow.
Language, mister.
He's lying.
All right, let's call Mike. My friend in Wisconsin, Mike Friend.
Hey, come on.
Matt Kenseth Jones, so you know.
Yeah.
He's a huge Kenseth
Only
fan.
in Wisconsin.
Right? He's also probably a Dick Trickle fan. If I was in Wisconsin, I'd root for Dick Trickle.
Yeah, I would
Answer
too.
the phone, Mikey. Come on.
Come on.
Mike,
Answer the
Mike,
phone.
Mike.
Mike.
Shit.
Doesn't sound like he's gonna answer the phone. All right, well we're just gonna you know what? I got a couple more. Let's reach out. Reach out and touch someone. What did you think of tonight's race, Chelsea?
Oh, it was so good because Martin Truex Jr. wasn't first at one point, and then when the whole tire thing happened,
Keep talking.
I was like, no, those tires should have been done while he was there, and they weren't done. It just was a mess. And then when Kyle Busch was first, I was just like, no.
Well, I will say this. I'm glad that the championship race is going to be at Phoenix next year. So
Right.
I will say that all 3 races at Homestead this past weekend, I thought it was okay, but, like, not really the best that I expected. But, I mean, the
Not
racing could
when
have been
Kyle
better.
Busch won. That was like, no.
Well, now I'm excited that the championship race is going to be at Phoenix next year. So that'll be it'll be interesting.
We're going to try one more human being. And let's see how this works out. One of the guys who has been with me longest watching NASCAR racing. He, of a Jeff Gordon fan. He, who, when we did it on the Logan Jabroni show, when Jeff Gordon retired, he was a guest. Let's see what he has to say if he answers the phone. I'll dial anything. I'll dial the frickin' White Castle near where he is.
Your call has been
Of
forwarded
course
to an
it has been forwarded, you rat bastard. All right, we got one more chance at this. All right. Corey, at the end of the day, was this the best you saw of the championship 4? Mike Friend says
Probably
he's
out
at
of 10.
work.
Yeah.
Safety meeting. Okay, I'm going to let him know. Sorry. All right.
Have
Go ahead.
fun at your safety meeting.
I will
have
probably
fun.
say this. You know, I thought the races this weekend were all right, but not the best I expected.
Okay.
I wanted some crashes.
Really?
I
And
wanted
so
it to
did
be a-
I.
I wanted
to
to
see
a little excitement.
I wanted to
like-
see some restarts, but since Homestead's like kind of like an iffy race, like what you're gonna get. I mean, I will say that I'm glad that they put the Homestead race in March, but yeah.
I'm going to try one more guy. Local Jones.
It's 4th and 10.
See what happens.
Yo.
Hey,
What's up,
Bill.
man?
Bill, it's me at the C&J Speedway Review. How you doing?
Oh, not much. Sitting back watching a football game right now.
Did you watch the race today, my brother?
I watched most of it.
Okay. Obviously, you know by now, Kyle Busch walks away with the 2019 championship. From what you watch, I know we're getting thumbs up all the way around the studio right now. From what you watched, what did you take away from this race and from this season, as it were?
Well, the biggest thing I know that I saw is the fact that Gibbs has one heck of a powerhouse team. There ain't no doubt about it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's going to take a lot for the other teams to catch up to them. That's for gosh dang sure.
Right.
I mean, other than that, I thought it was a pretty decent race. Otherwise, I mean, to watch a couple of guys come back from a lap down to get back on the lead lap and still challenge for the title is pretty incredible.
You know, when we look at Denny Hamlin, who everybody thought was going to be underdog, even though he's a Joe Gibbs Racing Team member, when he battles back and he comes to the forefront, you have to ask yourself, is this a Joe Gibbs Racing monopoly? Or, when you have the one Stewart Haas Racing member of Kevin Harvick running for that championship, is there a parity? Was this just a luck of the draw, or was this the 4 best drivers that the sport has to offer going forth toward the championship?
Well, I honestly think it was 4 of the best going for the championship.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hamlin was pretty much an underdog all year long. They didn't know what to expect until the last couple of weeks of the season. He came alive.
You know what? And that's what Corey and I talked about on Thursday night when we put the live feed out. How do you take someone who has 6 wins on the championship on the circuit? How do you take someone with 5 wins and then 6 wins at Phoenix when he wins?
Yeah.
How do you make that guy an underdog? How?
Yeah.
Denny Hamlin was easily a front runner.
True. I will agree with you on that.
Okay. So the reason I reached out to you, is what did you think of today's race? What did you see that maybe went one way or the other that could have changed the spectrum of how this race could have went sideways?
Well, I mean, I think the biggest part that could have happened, and this is my opinion here, is if somebody other than those four had actually gone out and won the race, it wouldn't have made much of a difference, obviously. But it would have made a difference in a way that those guys then were all battling for second. And then with, of course, Truex having his mistake on pit road, and then with Hamlin having his overheating problem, I mean, those could have both have been big problems right there for those guys.
Right.
But when you have the teams that they have behind them, it's very hard not to say that they're not going to get back into it. So, I mean, what else can you say about the way the race ran? I mean, it was a good race. Yeah, not a lot of wrecks, which is always a good thing. Actually, I don't think there was one wreck.
No,
there wasn't.
And then to see, to have, what do we have? 2 motors blow up and that was it?
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
think so, maybe.
that's something too. So it's just proven that these guys are making the teams are making the better engines and whatever else to where you're not seeing as many blown motors anymore. Yeah, you get some races where you'll have 3 or 4, but I mean, today with only 2, I think that was something to see, and it'll be interesting to see how this all works out for next year too.
Absolutely, and we're looking forward to hearing what you have to say next season when we start up in February with the Daytona 500. Please keep supporting us. Please keep watching us. And Bill, I've known you for 149 years. Doesn't matter. What I'm asking you is just keep listening and keep supporting. And when it comes down to it, we're going to reach out to you, and we're going to ask you for a fan's perspective. Keep giving us the real deal.
All righty, but I can do that,
All right, brother. That's Bill Ruff, and he's here, and we're going to let him go, and we have to close out the broadcast in just 3 or 4 minutes. So, Bill, thank you very much.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Chris. You guys have a good night.
You bet.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Bye.
All right, Larry. So, ladies and gentlemen, the 2019 champion, Kyle Busch, as much as many of us don't want to hear it, yeah, I know. Eddie's over the moon right now. I don't want to talk about it. But when it's all said and done, the race is over. The series is over. Kyle Busch is your 2019 champion. Corey, one question, and then we'll close it out because I know Eddie has to get back.
All right.
Your favorite for 2020 as champion?
I'm going to probably say Martin Truex Jr.
I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to say Kevin Harvick. I think he's got a lot to prove. Being 43, next year 44 years old, he's got a lot to prove. He's going to win. I'm going to say 6 races. I'm going to say one of those 6 races is Phoenix, the championship race next year. Yep. I think we're going to see Harvick collect his 2nd championship. He's a 2-time Xfinity Series champion. He's going to be a 2-time Monster Energy Cup Series champion.
Yep.
I think that's what you're going to see next year.
I agree.
Eddie, as the producer, you've listened to this all year long. 30-plus weeks, etc., so forth. Schnabitz Jones, finally, let your voice be heard when it comes down to it. Did you have fun doing this year?
Loads.
Right.
Yeah.
And tell them where they can find you.
Sitting in front of Chris and Corey.
Yes. And there's other places. But, Corey, tell them where they can find you.
Okay, so real quick, if anybody doesn't know, so I do a lot of go-kart in my spare time, so pretty much my nickname is Pretty much Rowdy Burns, and I do have
Not
the
pretty
helmet.
much. It is Rowdy Burns.
Yeah, it is. It's not
let's
pretty
say-
much.
Okay, I changed that word. So, anyways, I do have the helmet that goes with it, but I don't know if I can take it because it's not a closed face helmet. But anyways, so my Facebook, it is Rowdy Burns K1 Racer. Instagram, I am at Rowdy Burns 51 Racer. Snapchat, I am at Rowdy51 K1 Racer 1, and then Twitter, I am at Rowdy51 Racer. So please go and follow me. I know my last event in 2019, I'm going to be down at R1K1, actually R1 Indoor Karting in Lincoln, Rhode Island. So that's about a couple miles from here. So that'll be my last event for 2019, and then 2020, I got some good events planned coming up. And I know that the Memorial Day event will still be going on. I think this is my 6th or 7th year running it, so I'm really excited about that. But, yeah, other than that, guys, stay tuned. So we'll probably have the event season start up somewhere around like late March, start of April. Hasn't really been confirmed yet, but stay tuned, guys, and be sure to follow the Rowdy page.
Do you want to know who won this week on the Cup Series?
Who won?
All right, so before we go into Wednesday night, where we'll have our next CJ Speed review, Corey took Martin Truex Jr. as his lock. He finished second. He took Kyle Larson as his sleeper. He finished 40th. He took Joey Logano as his hopeful. He finished 5th. That's a total of 47. You divide that by 3. Corey, your finish was a 15.3.
All right.
I took Kevin Harvick as my lock. He finished 4th. I took Denny Hamlin as my sleeper. He finished 10th. I took Chase Elliott as my hopeful. He finished 15th. That's a total of 29. You divide that by 3. My finish was a 9.3, which gives me, as if I didn't already win the heavyweight championship of the world, I'm the winner.
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir. And a great battle amongst. And next year, I'm sure.
Of course, you are so fired.
No. I'm keeping him on as long as I can.
Yeah.
If I win a T-shirt every year, it's all well and good.
Right.
But thank you, guys, for a great season. It's been so fantastic. If you're watching live on YouTube, that's great. This will not be on Apple Podcasts, but you'll hear Apple Podcasts where we record Wednesday night. Thank you so much, and thank you, Corey, for a great season. And thank you,
appreciate it.
Thank you, Eddie, for making everything possible. This has been the C&J Speed Review 2019, and on Wednesday, we're going to come out every other week until Speed Weeks with something new. We will be back this Wednesday breaking down Championship Weekend, which we just saw, and then every other week from there, we'll have something new for you, which means Eddie has a night off every other Wednesday night. He can make zucchini pasta Jones, whatever he wants. Doesn't matter.
I'm down 13 pounds, so fuck your hate.
Well, no, I'm happy for you. Bro, at no point do I ever say, well, 13, why can't you do 15? That's not me.
Hold my beer.
Exactly. Guys, thank you so much. And for myself, for Eddie, this is Corey giving you easily the 2 most famous words in C&J Speed Review history.
Good night.
The Nickelback music, hot shit. We'll see you in a week.